Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, we will be going straight ahead into business to talk about today's event. I mean, the governorship and of course the state assembly elections. And of course, I'm being joined by my guest in the person of Mr. Gani Kayode Balogun. He is a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure to be here.
All right. So now let's talk about this event. Before now, INEC asserted that they had, technical glitches which has to do with the network connectivity. And of course, they also asserted that they had logistic issues, which also made it very impossible for most of their staffs to get to the polling units, before the conduct of the election started, as at the last presidential elections that were held. Yeah. So talk to us about its readiness and preparedness for today's event.
Well, you must understand that with almost 177,000 polling units all over the country, a country that is almost 1,000 square meters physically, there will be logistical problems. No matter how well prepared you are, there are areas in this country that to move from one town to the other will require nothing less than 3 hours. So that will be expected. I think those will have been corrected by the INEC simply because they now realize that most of these are basically local elections. So they don't need to go interstate. Everything will be done within the state, and I'm sure they've learned their lesson, whatever happened 3 weeks ago, and they'll use that lesson basically as a stepping stone to ensure that today's elections are free and fairly conducted.
So like you said, it was really a challenge no matter how much, were deployed for that particular, exercise.
Yeah.
But what were the lessons? Having, gone through the assessment of the last elections, what were those lessons that you think they have learned?
Well, in the first place, I don't think the glitches are that massive. Because like I said, we are talking about 36 states and 774 local governments. So the glitches appeared only in some limited number of states, or for those interested, in some areas that they can always work on. I think that will be rectified today. It will have been disastrous if the glitches were beyond the point where no other areas work. Because right now we know that the paper trail for what happened 3 weeks ago are already provided to the parties. So that to me is key. Because without the paper trail, whatever you put online is really nothing serious until you can take the paper from the polling units to the collation centers, back to the state INEC, then to the federal INEC, as the case may be. That to me is more important, and that one has been done. All right, and that means whatever glitches or things that a very minority number of people are shouting about have no really long-term significance on the results that came out on 3 weeks ago.
So what you're saying from all your analysis that the mistakes that were made would have been corrected before now?
I'm sure they've been corrected because, like I said, this is purely local elections. They are not national. So what you need to deploy is not really that massive. A state like Lagos with its land mass cannot be compared to a state like Sokoto or Kogi. So challenges will be different. So we have to take them based on the state by state basis. Yeah.
All right. So what are your expectations as regards to this event?
That people will turn out because, as you know, all politics are local, and I expect the local people to turn out and do the needful, because this is the nearest to them in terms of governance. The House of Assembly member is somebody you should know, and then the governor, of course, has direct impact on your lives in terms of provision of rules and in terms of taxation and laws. So while you may not even have anything to do with the president in the next 4 years, you have to deal with your governor and your House of Assembly member every day, just like you have to deal with your local government chairman and others at that level. So this one is of more importance to locals than the presidential election.
When you say it's more of a local, election, because of course the people are more closer to the governor than that of the president, you would agree with me that as at yesterday, we were getting videos circulating the social, media, and of course, we saw persons who were issuing out threats. And now you're talking about there will be, participation. How do you think that would happen when we're already seeing threats going around and obviously people will be deterred from going out. And now they're saying that there will be more participation.
Those who are deterred just wanted an excuse not to go out. Simply because
You
somebody...
say it's an excuse?
You came to work this morning. People are not supposed to move. You are here because you are determined to do your duty. People should just do what they have to do. If people are threatening you...
At the expense of their own lives?
How many people will die that you think will die if you go out to vote? You'll be protected. People die in their bathtops now.
So you mean they shouldn't pay attention
People
to such
should
kind
not
of
pay
threats?
attention to diversions. Go take your, what do you call it now? Your PVCs. Go out there and vote. Because you don't know whether it's your votes that will change the direction of the election.
People are ready to vote.
Let them
but there
go
is
out.
voter apathy.
There will always be apathy.
There is voter suppression because of threats.
Again.
And you think that is not also important to consider, to factor in as to whether people will go out or not?
Even if there are no threats, which are considered significant, because the threat is just, whoever is threatening you is just one person. The instruments of states are massive to ensure that things are done. I still think even without anybody threatening anybody, there will still be voter apathy. Because in the last 20 years, we've been having a decreasing number of people coming out to vote. And they were not threatened. And they were not suppressed. Some people will simply not vote because they just don't want to vote. That's not to do with whatever anybody is saying on social media. Because you must understand, the areas in this country where social media plays no role whatsoever in how they get their information. They listen to BBC Hausa service or VOA Hausa service. And those people definitely will not talk about videos recorded by one amateur and posted to cause disaffection. They will do whatever they have to do based on their own thoughts and caprices. I think our people should grow beyond these inanities of thinking that simply because somebody threatens you, it's just one man. One man. And you think the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army and the Nigerian states will stand by, allow one man to threaten you. If you don't want to come out, then don't come out. But don't blame it on somebody threatening you. Because you go out every day to earn your money now.
But don't forget, he might also have backups. He might also have
people
who
we in the media should be very
nice crime.
We should be very careful about what you put out there. You are selling fear when it doesn't exist. That's what they said 3 weeks ago, and the election went very well. Of course, there will be skirmishes in certain places. Don't forget, India is the biggest democracy in the world. They still have skirmishes. Voter suppression still went on in the US, despite the fact that it's one of the oldest democracies in the world. Black voters were still turned back in some areas. People are still going to court to check whether people have the right to vote via mail. There will never be a perfect election.
But in a situation where you see someone coming out to boldly say that whoever that does not vote for this particular party will be dealt with, this person is still moving around freely, and you want people to still come out and take
my brother,
and throw caution into the wind?
If people don't want to come and let them stay at home, it does not change the fact that results will be announced. If only 10 people came out, 10 people will be counted, and whoever had the majority will become the governor or the House of Assembly member. Let's be realistic here. People will always threaten you. Either they threaten you by going out, your landlord will threaten you. Your Uber driver will come late. I can give you 10,000 reasons why you don't have to leave your house. If that's what people do, then nobody will leave their house. We keep trying to sell fear instead of selling hope, and that to me is dangerous. Because one video, there are 22 million people in Lagos. There are 8 million registered voters. How many people can one person stop from voting? I just want to, even if he has backup, will he have 7 million people backing him up to stop him from voting? If you don't want to vote, stay at home. It's your right. There's no law that compels you to vote. But don't blame it or because somebody did a video that somebody is threatening you, and because of that, if somebody is going to threaten you, they will threaten you. It's up to you to know whether you want to earn your pay or not. If you don't want to come to work, don't come to work. But to use that excuse that there was traffic or it was raining, and people just find an excuse not to do the thing they're supposed to do. Like I said, 7 million voters registered in Lagos. How many people is one man going to stop from voting? Even if you have backup, let's say he has 100,000 people backing him up. How can 100,000 people stop 7 million people from voting? It's what I want to know. So if you don't want to go out to vote, fine, fantastic. Stay at home, make fries, make eggs, buy bread, eat breakfast, watch TV. But don't use the excuse that somebody threatens somebody not to go out there and vote.
All right, now talk to us about the functionalities of the beavers and of course the IRA, because if you remember at the last election, you know, it was alleged that some of these INEC staff were complaining that they do not understand the technicalities of this device, which of course affected the exercise to some extent. So talk to us about that.
What is it that they do not understand? Were they not trained on the use of beavers? They were trained. They were trained for 3 weeks and they had a dummy run in some states. So I don't think, unless they change the personnel very late in the day, I don't think that's an excuse for you to reflect your incompetence when it comes to things you're supposed to do. They were trained. They were shown the way beavers worked.
But you think
if
that
the
doesn't
machine
matter?
did not work, it's a different thing entirely. But that they don't know how to operate it and they were given to them, to me, is a non-issue. Because you are trained, you are being paid to know how to operate the machine, to use it for the process of the election. So that cannot be an excuse for you to not to perform your duty that you are being paid for. The problem with Nigerians is that we just lack excuses of things that are common to everybody else. It's like somebody saying that you don't have to operate a phone, that only means the phone is bad. That's not true. You must go to those who know, but they were trained. I know they were trained. And so nobody can give another excuse why it didn't work.
So you feel those excuses weren't valid enough?
They are not valid at all, not enough, at all. Because you are trained and you have supervisors and your supervisors have supervisors. So the moment you could not operate it, you call your supervisor, who now call the tech person or whatever they need to do. That's why some areas it was delayed. But everybody who lined up voted.
But when it comes to understanding issues, especially assimilation of information, don't you think it varies from persons to persons? The way you might be fast to assimilate information about a particular device might be different from the next person. And of course, that could have caused the issue, don't you think so?
They were not giving the device that very morning. They were not seeing it for the first time. They've had the device before, they've worked with it before, they've done dummy runs with the device before, everybody. So there's not an excuse. If the machine malfunctions, that's a different thing entirely.
Of course, there were issues where that's
another matter entirely.
Okay.
But that you could not operate a machine you are familiar with, that you are being paid, it's like getting a driver and he said he could not drive manual. Yeah, it's not a driver. It's just a mover of a vehicle from point A to point B. So there are skills that are inherent in whatever you are given to do that you must exhibit. Telling me that you don't know how to operate beavers is to me ludicrous.
Now talk to us about some areas where we got issues that has to do with the malfunction of the machine. Are we sure that will not likely play out today?
Chances are we'll have some malfunctions here.
So what could be done, proactively to avoid that?
I think they've already told them, I'm sure you have heard on your station, that once the machine malfunctions, call your supervisor. They already have backup waiting. That's why the configuration took a week. Not only for the ones they will use, but the ones that will serve as replacements. So they've factored in that. It doesn't mean that the level of malfunction may overwhelm them. That's to be expected. But if it is done within the confines of maybe a certain percentage, backup is already available. I think we worry too much about things that are not really important.
You say we worry too much?
Yeah, we worry too much because automatically these are Nigerians, these are human beings who will do the job and they will do the needful. Let's give hope that they will do the right thing.
But while we're selling hope, don't you think we have to be realistic so that we don't build our castles in the air?
Well, okay, you want to be realistic. Okay, let me show you one level of reality. Like I said, 176,500 and something PUs. In the last 3 weeks, we've been waiting to see massive problems. And so far, we've had less than 1,000. And you can verify. A lot of people going to court and say they are going to court, but what they are bringing to the fore are less than 1,000. And you and I know that to change significantly the result of an election, or to say this election is bad, the problem will be so massive. 177. That means half of that will be what? That will be 35 plus 50. You have to do 85,000 something bad PUs that must be bad for you to say it's going to affect it. But all the noise you've had are from a particular part of the country, and you are looking at things that people are not even complaining about. So that's reality. So because the minority is very vocal about the areas and they have challenges that they cannot verify, doesn't mean the entire election is bad. It doesn't mean this election, which is smaller, by the way, because it's localized, will be bad. That's why I say when we are selling hope, it doesn't mean you don't know the reality. But the reality is that I dare anybody to show me 10,000 problems that we had 3 weeks ago that is big enough. Because remember, 10,000 is not even up to 10% of the number of polling booths we have. To do that, you need to give me 17,600 PUs that have issues to qualify for 10%. So when people keep talking and keep asking for proof, and they keep going back to the same areas that we know that these areas consume less than 1% or maybe 2% of the entire country. Simply because something went back in your areas of coverage doesn't mean it went back all over, doesn't mean it went bad all over the country. There are 19 states in the north. How many noise have you heard them make? There are states in the southwest, outside Lagos. How many noise have you seen anybody make? There are states in the south-south. How many noise have they made? Even the fantastic results, if you can use that word, that somebody got in the southeast. How many people have you seen? But people complain about things that are near to them because they live in a bubble. And they think that bubble represents the whole country. The reality of Nigeria is bigger. The entire southeast is equivalent to your states. The entire southwest, outside Lagos, is equivalent to Niger State. There are states in Nigeria that are smaller than some local governments in Borno State. So because you stay in one small part of the country, you assume the challenges you have is reflective of the entire nation. That's not true. So when somebody tell me we have to face reality, I laugh. Because the reality we have is what I just told you. A big country, almost 1 million kilometers, when you put it in square form, and the challenges you have are minuscule. But the level of noise that a very tiny number of people on social media makes, you think that Nigeria is burning. Nigeria is not burning. Outside Lagos, the entire southwest is cool. Tell me one problem you've heard in the southwest in the last 3 weeks. And you are talking about Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, Ekiti. And they are calm. The entire north is calm.
The entire north is calm?
Give me an example where it's not calm in the entire north. Give me 2 examples, I dare you.
But we just got information lately that kidnapping has resumed.
We are talking about the elections. You are talking about kidnapping.
But you said it's calm.
I said after the election, it is calm. It's not, the kidnapping is not a function of the election, like it is on social media.
All
here
right.
in Lagos and Abuja.
I think I will have to put you on a pause mode for a while. Let's watch a video clip right about now by one of our senior correspondent, Paul Aiboje, who was on the street covering some very important issues, and of course he has some news to share with us. Let's watch this.
This is Unit 18, Isheri Ikosi, LCDA, here in Lagos State. By my time, it's just to 9 a.m. and you can see behind me voters already here on the ground wanting to cast their votes. But the reaction here is in the negative. They are saying that in the last election, which of course is the Presidential National Assembly elections, materials and men of the Independent National Electoral Commission got here about past 10 a.m. They are saying that they didn't expect this to repeat itself after all the promises made by the Independent National Electoral Commission that they are improving on the process and they are getting it right for the governorship and State House of Assembly elections.
Good morning. This was 7 polling units 018 in Olowora, Ikos, Isheri. So we are here for gubernatorial election, and till now we are still waiting for them. This to 9. We've not seen anybody here, so we don't even know what is happening. But we pray that what happened during the presidential election will not happen again today.
We are here for gubernatorial election. and I'm one of the um, agent. That is electoral agent, party agent, and that is Oluwara Ikosi. And the observation here, I came here around to 8, and nothing has been done based on INEC expectation that presidential election will not, as in that this governorship election will be, as in everything, all the material, everything will be set. But when I came, nothing has been done. It's only the party agent that have been here.
I don't know what is stopping them to come by this time. We are here by, we are reached here by after 7, but we didn't see anybody. So I think that something is holding them. I don't know.
The last time of the governorship, right? I mean the presidential, it was still after 10. Even though we are even talking to them, I say, why do people keep late? Those, the government say they give them 2 hours more. Understand me? So those people that came late, they came now, because they even tell them that you people came late now. You're supposed to wait for that 2 hours. Some people, when they want to vote, they don't allow them. I say this is not, it's not done well. Understand me? Keep to government what they say. Just like that. But now look at the time now. So now they are not around. So when they came late now, they now argue with people that, those people that say, you people came late now, and they want you people, they have to vote. If they don't allow them now, what do you think that is going to happen? If not because of this police and all those things, there will be a fight.
This is
All right, now you've seen the various reactions, from people on the street. This is just very close to us here at Olowara. And if you remember, I asked you earlier, what is the preparedness like? What lessons have they learned going by the last elections? You said everything has been put in place. But as we speak right about now, it's past 9 and voters are already there waiting. Logistics was an issue then, and I'm sure they would give the same excuse that logistics was part of the issue that prevented them from arriving at the polling unit. So what's your view on that?
You just showed me one polling unit.
This is 21 days, mind you.
Hold on. The sample size does not even qualify for a sample size. Because you are talking about almost 17,000 polling units in the state. And you are showing me one where they came late. Show me the ones they already working. That's the problem with what we do in the media. We do the narration that fits our level of thinking. Your question does not really hold water because you showed me one sample size. Show me more.
So one reason is not enough to justify the fact that these guys have already voted.
Again, the problem is this: you're coming to conclusions based on.
It's just like saying one person dying is not enough to justify the fact that the nation is not safe. Because these people have the right to vote.
Have they been stopped from voting? Is the voting over? Did they not come at all? Are we talking, is this 3 p.m.? This is 9 a.m. Have they stopped them from voting when it's 3 p.m.? Have they not voted today? Are they not going to vote? Again, let us be careful. Because somebody will sit at home, watch this program, and then use one sample, one PU, to say Nigeria is bad. They've come late everywhere. That's not true. That's the correction I was trying to make before we went on break. And I said there's nowhere you have perfect elections. There will always be logistical problems. That's the first thing I said when we started. There will be itches, there will be glitches. All these are expected. That's why nobody, no serious management experts will take one sample out of almost 25,000, 30,000 polling units in Lagos and use that as the basis to condemn the system. Who does that? You are a TV station. Give us more police stations. I'm sure there are police stations, they are already there. I'm sure there are police stations, they are late. I'm sure there will be police stations, they will even come later than this police station. But we look at this on the aggregates before coming to terms that, okay, this thing has passed. That's why pass mark in most schools is 40%, not 100%, not 99%. Because you expect that the questions that we ask of you, that you will fail. But they will still say, okay, you graduated by scoring A, B, C, D up to a particular point. What PU does not reflect what is going on.
Well, I'm sure what you're saying now could be valid, but as we go on in the show, we'll get more correspondence.
Precisely.
You know, from
when we
other
get more
areas, and we'll
correspondence,
get to know what the situation
we get a more
like.
balanced idea of what's going on.
Okay, let's go on.
Lagos.
Now we have about 28 states. 28 states will be going for these polls, especially with regards to governors who will be re-elected back to office and governors who will be elected for the first time. What would you talk about, especially with governors who will be re-elected in office when it comes to performance? And of course, those who are coming in for the first time when it comes to antecedents.
Well, I don't think this election is unique for so many reasons that you are aware of. I don't think performance is one of the major parameters. I think emotion basically, then of course religion and then ethnicity. Those are the things that are driving elections in this electoral cycle.
I beg to butt in here, because if you say it's more of emotions, why are people saying that when it comes to engagement with the people, especially when it comes to governorship debates, some governors didn't show up? Then it got to the dying minute, they started trying to, reach out to the people. Do you think this would in any way secure an opportunity of them getting into office?
What has the debate got?
But you're saying it's emotion.
I'm saying emotion. So, and that's what you are. That's what you are also reflecting.
No, don't you think the people have the right?
Hold on now. You ask the question. Don't answer it yourself. That's not the way we do media. You ask question and answer. Then you ask the follow-up question. Number one is emotion, which is also what you yourself you are displaying. A governor's refusal to go for a debate has no correlation with reaching out to voters using other means. There is no law that says I must attend a debate. That's the only way for me to get to my people. I can simply decide I want to go to the people direct and give them whatever I want to give them, or talk to them in their language, or go to their neighborhood and listen to what they are saying. The question does not correlate with the answer because it doesn't make sense. Not going to a debate is a different thing entirely. I may decide that's not the way my people want me to see. I may decide, okay, what I want to do is engage them in town halls. I want to see them directly. I want to talk to them. I don't want any filter between us. So why is that a crime? What was the first one? What to do with the second one?
So what do you have to say about performance, especially
now,
for
the point I'm making, I wish you didn't let me land, is this. This election is unique on so many aspects. It is being driven not by competence or by performance. It's being driven by primarily primordial sentiments and emotions. People are voting according to their ethnicity and according to their religion and according to whatever they feel will serve their interest in the long run. That is what is going on. That's what went on 3 weeks ago. That's what will happen today. That's why I said it has absolutely nothing with performance. I know senators who lost, who are fantastic senators on the floor of the Senate, who have done extremely well as senators for their people. But because a tidal wave of ethnic and religious sentiments are driving people, they were voted out. I can give you examples all over the country, in the East, mainly. People who lost out, not because they were bad. They lost out because the sentiments in their locale at this point in time does not favor them or favor somebody else, or the perception that somebody else will do better. So what do you do to that? So when you say performance debate, if a man had gone for debate, let's say this man I'm using as an example, this senator, had done all the right things. He went for a debate, he scored high, he spoke well, he told them what he wanted to do. But the prevailing sentiments.
What about in a case where the people yet after haven't done all of that, the people are not satisfied? It is their power to choose.
Precisely. So why are you talking about competence when you just realize that the power to choose is not based on competence? It's based on sentiments. It's based on emotions. This man has been there too long. Let's vote him out. My brother is now on the ticket to another party. Let's vote for him. The man is a Catholic, I'm an Anglican. And the first time we have an Anglican as a senator, let's vote for him. The man is a Muslim, he's not a Christian. Let's vote him out.
I'm going to put it yet
What has that got to do with competence?